Now, on the I Will Teach You a Language podcast, which of course all self-respecting language learners listen to devotedly, there is one question which, above all, has dominated the airwaves for years. One question which, it doesn't seem to matter how many times I answer it, someone still comes back and asks the very same question again. There doesn't seem to be an answer to this question that satisfies people. It's like with parking tickets. Yes, you're parked illegally, yes, you overstayed the time, and yes, you got a ticket, but there's always a good reason why you, in this particular case, really did deserve that ticket, you know? And it seems to be just like this with this particular question about language learning. So what is this question? Well, long-term listeners of the podcast will, of course, immediately know that the answer to this is, can I learn 2 languages at the same time? Now, because I've answered this so many times, I have no chance of saying anything new or original on this topic whatsoever. And so let me just lay this out now as a rule of language learning, forever enshrined on the annals of the internet, so that whenever in the future anybody asks me whether it's a good idea to learn 2 languages at the same time, I can just point to this and have done with it. Right, we're going to get into this right now, so make sure you subscribe to this channel using that big red button below, because things are about to get very serious. Now, I want you to cast your mind back to a moment in your language learning experience where you feel like you were learning a lot. You know, when you felt like things were going really well, you were improving at a good clip. Think about what you were doing at that time, how you were studying. Have you got that in your mind? Now, I don't know exactly what your situation was, but I can be pretty sure that at that time, you were quite focused. Focus is a word that you would probably use. You were studying a lot. You were going quite deep on your language practice. Focus, deep. I think you know what I mean. I'm going through this at the moment with my Japanese, as it happens. I'm speaking a lot, I'm making the time, I'm studying the language. I'm doing bits of revision whenever I have the free time, because I can feel like I'm just in a bit of a groove. I've got some momentum going, right? Do you know what this feeling is like? Chances are this feeling of focus and depth, it tallies with your experiences of language learning going well. And there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is that there is a direct correlation between how deeply you focus, and how much you learn. On the other hand, when you're a bit all over the place, scattershot, snatching half an hour every few days, rushing your homework before class, and really doing anything but focusing on your language practice, well, that is the time when you make very little progress. Depth and focus equals progress. Now, let me ask you this. What is the one thing that you could do that would snatch away that beautiful focus from your language study? What's the one thing that would ruin it all? Well, I'll tell you. You could start to learn another language. The fundamental problem with trying to learn 2 languages at the same time is that you're taking your focus away from one language and giving it to the other. And naturally enough, you're not going to give your complete focus to either of them. Now, that feeling of depth and focus that I described just a bit earlier, when you're really on a roll and you're using every square ounce of focus and attention to drive your language study forward, it's a really fine balance, isn't it? It's difficult to get to that state, and even harder to maintain. So in my view, you really can't afford to lose even 10% of that focus. Sure, you might be thinking, well, it's only 15 minutes here or half an hour there, but what you're actually doing is driving a spear right through the heart of your main language. And yes, I know that your situation is different. You're taking a holiday, you're moving country, you just got a cheap textbook from the little local charity shop and it's sitting on your table begging to be studied. You've just got addicted to a new TV series and you want to understand it. Somebody just gifted you a copy of Olly's short story books, and if you only just study the language a little bit, then you'll be able to understand the book and life would be amazing. I know, but my friend, it doesn't matter one bit how you're trying to spin this. The fact remains that you cannot study 2 languages at the same time and do them both justice. Trust me, you'll feel great for a couple of weeks. You'll get that initial buzz from your first few lessons in the new language, but as sure as night follows day, as the days and weeks begin to pass, you'll realize that everything you've achieved in your first language, all the progress you've made, all the excitement and motivation that you once felt without noticing it, in the shadow of the night, it had slipped away, and you've lost all that wonderful momentum that made you feel so great and that excited you enough to want to start that second language in the first place. Now, we can argue back and forth, you and I, and you can show me counterexamples till you're blue in the face, but that is my position on the two language questions, and so that, as they say, is that. But of course, there is one situation that totally trumps my idealistic take on this topic. One situation where you absolutely should learn two languages at the same time, and that's when you feel, deep down, I just need to do something a little bit different. Maybe you don't really care so much about being some ninja polyglot, you just want to have a bit of fun and dabble in a new language. You want some variety, and you're just enjoying your life. And if that's the case, then I say, go for your life, have fun, do it. Because, of course, it's perfectly possible to study two languages at the same time. I mean, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't study 6 languages at the same time. And there are some fairly famous polyglot type people on the internet who do exactly that, and who probably think that what I'm saying here is a load of claptrap. And they're probably right. But if spending some time with a new language is something that you feel would add value to your life and your situation and your personal situation, then by all means, go for it, and please enjoy every minute. But if, like many people watching this, you're not aiming to be a super polyglot, but rather you just want to do whatever it takes, come hell or high water, to master this one language that you've fallen in love with and you're working so hard to master because it matters to you more than anything else, then it's worth bearing this lesson in mind. It's worth thinking about the power of depth and focus in language learning, and to consider what it really takes to do great things in just one language. And if this is you, and learning your main target language to a good level is a big, hairy, audacious goal, a BHAG in your life, if you're committed and you'll do anything to avoid falling off the rails to reach your goal, then I would say, do yourself a favor, resist the temptations, as hard as it may be, hit the like button on this video because that's by far the most important thing, and don't learn two languages at the same time. Thanks for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy it and you'd like me to continue this series of the rules of language learning, then you can let me know by liking this video. Also, if you'd like to be notified when I upload new videos every week, then you can subscribe to the channel using the big red button below, and the videos will pop right up in your news feed.